Good evening, everyone. Sunday evening covers halftime live. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Dallas Cowboys. The Bucs with a stranglehold of a 12-3 lead. A bit of a tumultuous Sunday, I think, is the word of choice to describe how Week 1 betting has gone so far. But hopefully, we will get into an opportunity here in the second half as we start to see the lines come around. A few things to talk about that I think stood out to me and I think are really interesting from the first half. So start with the Dallas Cowboys. We know up front on the offensive line, they had issues coming into the regular season. They got rid of La'el Collins. They lost Tyron Smith late in August. Now they've lost Connor McGovern. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers front is incredibly good, just loaded with talent up front, especially against the run. And the big question was the Cowboys wanted to run the football. That's what we heard from Mike McCarthy. And so far we've seen it. And in the first half, I think their numbers a little bit skewed because of that longer run by Dak Prescott, which brings the numbers up overall. But it's still less than 3 yards per run for the Cowboys if you take that away. So the loss of Connor McGovern to an already beat up offensive line, I think causes a little bit of an issue for Dallas that hasn't really been able to find any answers on offense so far. Just 3.4 yards per play as it is. And so I'm watching the Cowboys, and it just seems like they're trying to find whatever they can, and they want to run the football. It's not working. And we'll get to maybe an interesting prop on the Cowboys offense in just a second. And so it's a lot of uncertainty right now for the Cowboys offense. On the other side, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My question, I guess I would pose to everybody watching to think about is, if you knew before the game started that Julio Jones looks like he's 25 running around again, and Chris Godwin was seemingly at full health, I don't think we would have seen this number as low as it closed. It closed 2.5. Surely we would have had a little bit bigger of a number because we'd be looking at these two teams that it was drastically different. And the one thing I really wanted to see, which is where it really stood out to me what the Bucs were doing in the first half. Last year, it was all about throwing the football. 66% pass rate. It was a league high. Nobody threw the ball more than the Bucs in 2021. 76% of the yards that this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense gained last season was from the pass. And they also operated extremely quickly. League high, 26.1 seconds per snap. And coming into this game, it was the question of the offensive line, which we know for the Bucs is banged up too. They now lost another left tackle. But also, what influence is Todd Bowles going to have on this offense as a whole? We go from Bruce Arians, who's the risk it for the biscuit guy that is pushing everything downfield, supporting these numbers you see on screen, to Todd Bowles, which is this defensive-minded, ultra-conservative coach that I know very well suppressed the Jets offense, which is maybe putting it lightly, but like how is he going to impact this offense overall? And so far, the Buccaneers, they've had 5 drives. They've all got in deep into Dallas territory. They've settled for a field goal on all 5. And what's happened with all 5 of those drives, less the one just before the half where the clock was a determining factor, was second and third down, deep in Dallas territory. This Buccaneers team abandoned the pass, and they went run heavy. If we think back, the Leonard Fournette runs on second and 3, second and 4, really stalled out these drives. And then on third down, third and short in Dallas territory, we haven't seen the Bucs go back to the pass. It's all been running on second and short and third and short in these situations. And so my question watching this about the Buccaneers offense overall is that just an approach that they're taking, or is this Todd Bowles and now his influence on this team? Now, in the first half, that last drive really inflated the Buccaneers numbers, but they were about 58% run, which was something that we have not seen from this Buccaneers offense in a really long time. And so it puts me in a bit of a little bit like a conflict almost, trying to think about this second half. On one hand, we're looking at an incredibly lopsided first half. 6.4 yards per play to 3.4 for the Bucs. Massive. 219 yards gained on offense to 94. Massive. Again, this has been extremely one-sided in favor of the Buccaneers, yet when it's mattered most from a play calling perspective, things have tightened up quite a bit for the Buccaneers as they got deep into Dallas territory. So I see this on one hand as like a runaway opportunity where the Buccaneers I can make the case should be up considerably more than 9 points. This should be a 2-3 touchdown game based on the numbers that we're seeing. There's like a part of me inside that sort of sees this. I'm like, well, have the Buccaneers missed their opportunity? Like, is this a case where the Cowboys now all it takes is the one touchdown drive, they're back in it, and then this game flips around? Like, you guys watch football, you know what I'm talking about because you've been in this situation too, where you have the ticket and it's just really good drive after really good drive that keeps coming short. Then you see the snap flip late where the other team gets a touchdown. All of a sudden the game goes the other way. So you've been there too, you know that, and that's in the back of my mind here. And so when I look at this second half, I can go one of two ways, and it's to me, the Buccaneers team total over, or I can go with the Cowboys team total under. The one reason that I'm not going to go Dallas team total under is because when I'm watching what the Cowboys are doing on offense, they, to me, have a very clear advantage against the middle of this Buccaneers defense throwing the football. And so, to me, if I was going to bet between the Dallas under or an additional prop, if you have it, I think the Dalton Schultz receiving yards prop in play, and this will not be the official play, but I think over right now it's at about 34.5 yards at the couple books I looked at. I think that's really interesting. But I'm actually going to go with the more widely available bet here and go Buccaneers team total over for the second half at 12.5, and we'll take the number on screen at minus 126, which puts their adjusted full game number at 24.5, simply because I think the Cowboys now have to get away from that run. It's not working. They're not finding success going at this Buccaneers defensive line. So I think the pace picks up a little bit. But I also think that the Cowboys still do have that advantage against the middle of the Buccaneers defense. So I want you to watch, especially White in coverage on Schultz. They've been trying to get Pollard in creative situations. I think the Cowboys offense has that option, which concerns me with such a short team total. The Bucs, on the other hand, every drive so far, everything has gone right. And they've, from a play calling perspective, when it's mattered most, they've gone away from what they do best to running the football. And so that's why I think if we see more drives and Dallas now has the urgency, has to pick it up, play a bit quicker, that's going to allow the Buccaneers to potentially find success deep in Dallas territory. So I will go with the Buccaneers team total over, and we're seeing in the chat that the number is available at 10.5, which puts the adjusted total to 22.5. I'm on stream going back and forth, trying to get the wife who's watching downstairs to place the bet. So I'm going to be very curious to see what she ultimately put in for me. But Buccaneers second half team total to the over is the direction that I am going here. And if you do have props available in play, do take a look for Dalton Schultz and his receiving yards, because I do think there's an advantage for him against the middle of this Buccaneers defense that we saw emerge, just glimpses of it within the first half. So the bet is Buccaneers second half team total over 10.5. Thanks everybody for stopping by. A reminder, we will be back with you bright and early, 11 a.m. Eastern, Brad Powers college football release show for week 3. And I'll be back with each of you for Monday Night Football at halftime for the second half.